Welcome to today's Seidokan Saturday, or as I call them when I'm doing these techniques, Seidokan, but not quite. Tonight's technique for Nikyu, brown belt, second degree, is Kempo Yakusoku number 1. Now I've covered this before, but why have we done all these Kempos and we're only now getting around to number 1? Just like the Pinyans, which turned into Heians in Japan, not everything was organized originally in karate by hierarchy of difficulty or degree of difficulty. In school, you start with count in numbers, you learn to count, then you learn to add, then you learn to subtract, and there's a definite sequential taxonomy or sequential organization of how we're learning things from simpler to harder as we go. Karate wasn't set up that way because of the way it was passed down through centuries, generations. It was usually a guy knew this kata and you went and you learned that kata from him. And if it was the first one you learned, and then you went and learned another kata from another guy, but it was easier, it was still the second kata you learned. And so they tended to teach them in the order that they learned them because that was their familiarity as well. Funakoshi then took Okinawan karate to Japan, and the Pinyans, as we know them, Shodan, Nidan, Sandan, he inverted 1 and 2 because Pinyan Shodan in the old Okinawan is actually harder than the Pinyan Nidan kata. Now, these were designed by Anko Itosu for school, and so, yeah, there was some degree of understanding of learning hierarchy, but if we accept the other possibility that the kata were based on an older form, and he just subdivided the old Channan kata, which still exists in some systems, then maybe that's how the kata, if we performed all the pinyans 1 through 5 in order and made it one whole kata, like the old school 108 move Shaolin, okay, maybe. The same kind of thing happened with the Kempo Yakusokus, with the Kempo techniques, or combinations as they're called in some styles, defensive maneuvers, whatever term you're going to place on them. They were not set in, okay, I'm going to start with the easiest one and teach you that. And so as we teach them, we start with the easiest one, even though it's not sequentially the first one. All right, so now we're to Kempo Yakusoku number 1. It is a little more complex. It's not super hard, though. Okay, Max, onegaishimasu. This very much teaches a flow of returning hands. This concept, you'll see this in the Tensho kata of who does Tensho? Kyokushin does it. I believe Goju-ryu and Ishin-ryu do a version of the Tensho kata as well. It's the one you see to paint the fence in the Karate Kid Miyagi movies, but it very much follows that pattern of movement. So as the punch comes, I yield back in my cat stance, creating space with my body, but proximity with my feet. So I'm not far away with my foot. I'm still close. Technically, in the old school, it was just a single downward parry. I add the framing parry this way, okay? So as he punches, I parry right, then come over, guide away with the left. Then I step forward outside of his foot. My hands are in this position. I rotate my body, striking first with the back heel of my hand, following with the rake of my claw. If I was a girl, I could just do it as a slap smack, right? Like this on his face. But we're going to hit here and claw through. And then just to be sure, we're going to follow with the other hand, base of the heel of the hand, clawing. This time the claw can catch right here behind his jaw this way. And that's a great feeling. So 1, 2, 3, following. All right, let's go that far again. Hey! Inward parry, downward parry, stepping, both hands coming across in a following claw, heel claw manner. As I return, this arm wraps, this hand, keito uchi, chicken wrist, right here on the corner of his jaw. That should be about the end of the technique. But, just in case, now I'm going to do a leg hock, or an O Soto Gari. The leg hock, the difference between a sweep, a hock, and reap are minute. Okay, if I'm doing what we call a hock, I'm popping the knee this way. If I'm doing a sweep, I'm straight legging it. All right. If I'm doing a reap, I'm combining the hock and the sweep. terminology, really, I'm just going to kick his leg out, right? Whether I do that by popping or straight leg swinging, I'm kicking his leg out. Options are endless on how to do. Well, they're not endless. There are three. Hey, parry, parry, palm rake. Returning wrap, returning keto. From here, as I do the O Soto Gari reap, I'm going to do the koko uchi, the tiger's mouth, to the throat, maintaining this tight so he can't really go anywhere. But I'm going to go down just to be nice, let him get closer to the ground. Punch to the face, rolling shuto right into that fitted gap here, or can go to the neck or to the chest. Targets your choice. Okay, go to the other side. Parry, parry, palm rake, wrap, returning keto uchi, O Soto Gari koko uchi, seiken shuto, kiai. When I'm done, this is one of the few Kempo yakusokus where we don't do a cover or a pivot out because I'm maintaining control of him here. I can then figure 4 wrap and hold, or just stay in contact and watch in case somebody else is coming around. Okay? Full speed, one more time. Hey! Hey! Arigatou gozaimasu. Kempo yakusoku number 1. That's it for today. Short, sweet, to the point. Thank you again for joining. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, tell a friend, practice at home, do all the good stuff. And until next week, as always, let's keep practicing.